Hello everybody, welcome back to the Davis Automotive YouTube channel. My name is Taylor Davis. I'm gonna be your host again today. I know if you watched our last video, we did the tour of the first part of our collection. We can actually see behind me, there is one car missing. The E39 M5 is getting some dyno parts fitted, so stay tuned for that. And sorry for my congestion. Don't know what I picked up. Not COVID, thankfully. I'm feeling okay, but just a little stuffed up. So if it's hard to listen to me, my apologies. It's harder to breathe than it is to listen to me, trust me. Thank you for coming back. If this is your second video you're watching, if this is your first one, make sure to go watch our first part of the collection where I go over some of the other cars. But today just wanted to take an opportunity to go over the second half, like I mentioned, which are the cars behind me. You may have seen a couple peeking out of the background in our first video. Wanted to go over them, how we got them, all that good stuff. And then the weather finally is turning here, and it rained today, cleaned all the salt off the roads. If you live in the Midwest, Northeast, you feel my pain. And definitely want to start doing some driving videos as well, show you guys what these cars are like to drive, because we can sit and look at them all we want, but what's the point of that? You know, definitely want to get them out on the road. So thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. If you have any questions, any comments, please post below. I want to be making content that you guys want to watch. There's no point in doing it if nobody watches it. You know, as much. And also, I was going to say, I hate hearing my own voice. So no, if you guys are going to watch it, then nobody's going to watch it, and then that's a problem. Like I sort of mentioned in my first video, I want to start making content coming from a BMW dealership that is more enthusiast focused, not sort of just cheesy repeat stuff. This is genuinely who I am. I love cars and want to share it with you guys. So with all that being said, I've talked long enough. Let's look at the cars. All right, we are going to start on the left side, which you probably saw this car hanging out in the background. This is a 1988 M6, aka E24 M6, aka Shark Nose. Why is it called a Shark Nose? Well, it's kind of got that pointed nose. It's sort of been an element of BMW design for a while. Just sort of not as aggressive as this car is. It's actually kind of cool having the E9, which I'll go over next to it, because obviously you can see sort of the lineage of where the Shark Nose started, because this car definitely has the same sort of look. This is definitely the 80s hero car of the collection. I mean, such a stunning car. So good looking, timeless proportions, timeless design, that big greenhouse, in red. Come on, red's the only color to have it in. So this is Cinnabar red over the tan interior. This car actually was here, like I mentioned in the first video, I started the dealership around 2.5 years ago, but I've been around it much longer than that. But this car was purchased when I wasn't working here full time. An acquaintance of my dad was looking to sell it, and yeah, we bought it. So it's a really, really good example. We've had to do some work to it, namely focusing on the brakes. So if we go down here and look at the calipers, I don't know if that comes out, if you can see they're gold. So they're actually zinc coated. So we had all the calipers rebuilt. So the front and rear calipers rebuilt. They were dragging, we were having brake issues. The right rear caliper, when we would go around, we would like check the temp on the rotors to see which one was dragging, and that one was dragging the right rear. So we had that one rebuilt twice. Ended up being really the main issue being the master cylinder, replaced that, and we are good to go. So other than that, we haven't really done much. The car came on E39 540 sport wheels, the BBS two-piece ones. Really great wheels. This car's got to have the stock wheels on them, even though they're tiny. I think it looks better. And we did reproduction Michelin TRX tires. I think there was something where, that's the original tire, the OE tire for this car. But I think, it's hard to fit newer tires on these wheels. Otherwise, I mean, I don't really know why we did this. I'm going to look next time when it's time to replace them if we can do something a little bit more modern. But just walking around, I mean, like I said, timeless design. You got the Hofmeister kink, boom. Boom, right there. Definitely has continued on in modern BMWs. Looking at the rear, no really modifications to the car other than a Billy Boat axle back exhaust. I just wanted a little more sound, which that gave it to us. It's not obnoxious at all. I love these 80s era, like rubber spoilers. It's so funny. Like, if you see like a 930 turbo, definitely has that. But just walking down the side, I mean, we got the basket weaves, we got the Hofmeister kink, we got the Shark Nose, we got the kidney grills that aren't obnoxious and huge. I mean, this is it. To talk about this car a little bit mechanically, the hood's already popped. Again, this is an older BMW, so it is a front hinged hood. Pop that up. This is a really, really clean example. Honestly, there's not a lick of rust on it. Everything is still in really good condition. rubber stuff like this makes me so nervous, but nothing has failed so far. But yeah, looking under the hood, this one definitely looks better than our E34 M5. This is, speaking of E34 M5 actually, this is the S38 B35. So S38 being engine code, B35, 3.5 liters. As you can see, individual throttle bodies, naturally aspirated, 6-cylinder, got this beautiful intake, the valve cover, the M power valve cover, definitely a good looking motor. So this is the US spec motor, okay? So this makes around 255 horsepower, I think. The Euro spec, actually, sorry, pre-87 Euro spec cars had the M88 engine in them, and that actually has direct sort of linkage to the M1. So that motor made a little bit more power, made around 280 horsepower. But if I recall, those motors were not catalyzed, so they didn't have catalytic converters, so couldn't get it approved here for the US. This is still a really good motor. This car doesn't weigh too much. I think it's around 3,200 pounds. So, even though it's bigger, it definitely doesn't weigh as much as the newer cars. Just look at the interior really quickly. Definitely gorgeous. Classic BMW. You can see the lineage with the driver-faced controls. These seats don't look like much, but really when you sit in them, they're actually very, very supportive. And a lot of that is due to the thigh bolsters, which a lot of seats don't get that right. You have big, fat, body hugging bolsters, but when it comes to the thighs, they're neglected, which you got to have those. 57,000 miles. So all original miles. Yeah, she's a keeper. She's in good condition. All these seat controls crack me up. They all work. Ooh, yeah. And then honestly, my favorite thing, the classic BMW bong. Oh, and our windshield wipers are on. We don't need those. That's the stuff. If you're a BMW guy or gal, that's the stuff. Interior's nice. I know these came with full leather. This one doesn't have it, which I'm a sucker for full leather, but it's probably good because it'd probably be cracking and dried and all that stuff. Not really anything else, I want to do to this car other than drive it. I would like to get a newer M-Tech 1 steering wheel. So, well, not newer, rather, just a replacement M-Tech 1 steering wheel from the Euro cars. It doesn't have an airbag, but is this airbag really going to save you anyway? And then a sort of earlier gear knob. But this car's really special, really cool. Would love to drive it and sort of give you guys my opinion what it likes to drive, because it's not just a pretty face. It actually is fun to drive. Okay, on to the next car that has direct sort of linkage to that. This is a 1973 3.0 CS. So this is internally known as the E9 chassis code. It is an awesome, awesome car. One of the best looking cars BMW has ever made, in my opinion. This thing just attracts so much attention when we drive it. This car has an interesting story because we actually took it in on trade from somebody that bought another car in our collection. So I'll get to that. It's one towards the end. But if you are interested in that, that's a really cool story. So they traded this car in on a car that was in our showroom, which I then bought back, which is a crazy story. Guy cried when he got rid of it. I could see why. When we got the car, and we got it back in 2013, or 2012, 2013, it was nice, but it wasn't what it is now. We've done a ton of work to it. So I believe we had the whole car repainted. It's a silver car originally. And it was repainted white, as you can see here. We continued with the white theme. We put a new deck lid on it because they had screwed like a CSL style front or rear spoiler onto it. And we did these replica Alpina wheels. We did a bunch of work. We did like an oil pan gasket, valve cover gasket. I think we did like a valve adjustment, a bunch of different stuff. We had the interior reupholstered, just the front seats. So it was originally a navy interior car, as you can see, with the doors and the back seat as well is actually all original leather. But we did have these seats reupholstered and they did a great job. The Nardi steering wheel was already on it. Hell yeah, love it. I spent way too much on that Alpina gear knob actually pretty recently because it's really cool. I'll show you when I sit inside. But yeah, just a timeless car. Such a good looking car in great condition. It's an all numbers matching. So the stamping on the engine block matches the chassis code. And let's actually just, again, front hinged hood. Look at the engine. So this is the M30. It's a 3-liter inline 6. This car is a 3.0 CS, not a CSI. So this does not have the mechanical fuel injection. This has carburetors. So it's kind of, finicky, whatever, but, I love the way this car drives. It's actually not slow at all. And it does have power steering, so it's pretty easy to drive. 4-speed manual. Yeah, just definitely a really, really special car. And let's just take a quick seat in the inside. And I love sort of, you know, this cockpit, right? I mean, definitely you can tell it's a BMW. I love this wood as well. It's definitely not, you know, like the newer woods, which are so over lacquered, over veneered. You can tell it's wood, but it's not rough. It's got like this matte finish, which matte finish woods are so in right now. 84,000 miles. I mean, there's no way this car has 184, so I think that's all original. And we have no indication of any rollback of any kind. Something cars need to bring back. Let me shut the door. All right. Corner windows. Bring these back. You know, you got the window. You don't want to, you know, open it up all the way. You just get a little vent in. I love that. Headliner looks great. I don't know if it's been reupholstered. It looks sort of too nice to be original, honestly, but I think it's like the same material. Like I said, spent way too much on this sort of burl Alpina gear knob. I just think it's so cool. It's original from Alpina. Actually has AC. Doesn't work. Do I care? No, because I'm not actually going to use air conditioning in this car. We got our obligatory ashtrays here when I'm chain smoking cigs. Another cool thing about this car is when the windows are down and they're electric windows, they take so long, or else I'd show you, it's pillarless. So it's sort of a cool look, almost like, you know, a new S-Class coupe is pillarless, CLs, you know, of old. And just looking in the trunk, there is one cool thing I want to show you. It ain't a classic BMW if we don't look at the toolkit, right? Guys, Grail, look at this. It's got the gloves. It's got everything. That's out of place, but it's got everything. We have the spark plugs. We have the bulbs. We have, I don't even know what those are. Are those fuses? I don't even know, honestly, but this is awesome. Wish I could tell you if this was original. It honestly looks too nice to be. I'm pretty sure we probably replaced it when we bought the car, but again, I don't know. I do have all the ROs, so I could probably look back. We have this owner's handbook, which is cool. I'm pretty sure this looks like it was installed after the fact. Like, that doesn't look OEM. You know, the antenna for the radio, which I don't use anyway because this motor sounds good. Would love to do an exhaust for this car at some point, and the one that's on it right now is like a little corroded, a little rusty. The bottom of the car is perfect though. There's no rust or anything, but you know, definitely would like to maybe have her sing a little bit more. But yeah, car is awesome. And also a little nod to the E46, well rather E46 M3 and the E60 M5, you know, with these vents. Definitely a little nod to this car. That's sort of the beginning of the vent. Or actually, a 507, I guess, would be before this. But anyways, yeah, that's the 3.0 CS. Let's move on to the car next to it, which is maybe more beautiful. But first, I got to take the cover off. There she is. So I would argue this is probably, well, not probably, undoubtedly the crown jewel of our collection, which, you know, definitely every time I come in here, just, you know, have to feel so grateful and fortunate, you know, to have the opportunity to maintain these cars and even just look at them. You know, this is a 2003 Alpina Roadster V8, aka Alpina Z8, aka the Bond car. It's just absolutely stunning to see in person. So this car actually, we've had since new, and it actually has never been titled. So it's got to be one of the only, you know, Alpina Z8s or Z8s in general that has never been titled. The story with this car is we actually have had a couple Z8s. My dad had a silver on red, a normal Z8, so manual S62 car. Then he had a black on red Z8, normal manual S62 car, sold those both. And then in 2000, it would probably be N2 because this is an 03 model year. We actually dealer traded for this car from a dealer out in Rhode Island, and we've had it ever since. We will never sell this car, even though the values are going bananas. And my dad is like, I'm not going to drive it. I'm like, okay, well, then we will sell it. Anybody who says that a car is a good investment is wrong. A car is meant to be enjoyed. A car is meant to be experienced. A car is meant to be driven. Yes, the market right now is making it so, okay, yeah, you can definitely make money on cars, but the second you lose sight of cars being transportation and being built to be enjoyed and driven, you've lost it. So I promise that will never happen to me. let's talk a little bit about the Z8. So the Z8 came out, I believe, for the 2001 model year, and it was sort of BMW's halo car, right? Absolutely stunning, absolutely gorgeous. But what ended up happening is that I think the Z8 was a bit misunderstood, because a lot of people felt like, okay, here's this beautiful car. You know, it had the S62 from the E39 M5, so it had a bona fide M engine, manual transmission, but it wasn't a sports car. I remember reading a comparison in Car and Driver back in the day when I was younger, and it was between a Z8, a 360 Spider, and a 911 Turbo 996. I think it was not even a cab. I think it was just a coupe, because I don't think they had the cab at the time. And this got trounced. So basically, Alpina, if you're not familiar with them, definitely look them up. It's an amazing story. And basically what they are is they're an arm, or actually like a side company, a tuner that fettles BMWs. They've been around for a long time. And their vehicles have always been very fast, very quick, but a lot more comfortable than the M models. So what Alpina said is they said, okay, this car is clearly beautiful, but we think BMW missed the mark on it. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna take our own stab at it. So what they did is they took the Z8 and they made some changes. So first of all, probably the most important change is gonna be powertrain. So let's pop the hood and let's look under here. Quick peek at the interior. There are some changes in there, which we'll go over. Let me just pop this. I think this car's got a bad battery, honestly, because it's been on the trickle charger, and the like indicator for the transmission is like flickering, so I don't think it has enough power. But okay, let's talk powertrain. Out goes the S62 high-strung, higher revving V8, and in goes the, well, it's really a bored out version of the M60 UTU. So this is the same motor that's actually in my 740 over there, which was 4.4 liters in that guy's, but they bored it out to 4.8. Why did they do this? Because Alpina said the Z8 is gorgeous and it should be a boulevard cruiser. It's not a sports car. So they really doubled down on that. They put this motor in, made less power, around 380, but made more torque and more torque load down. So it actually was a better suited motor to cruising. This is the same motor that was in like their B10 of the day. So their fettled sort of M5 rival, if you will. And it really, really is a great motor. I mean, it's still a V8. This car's still plenty fast, but it's their other powertrain change that I'm not sure I totally agree with, but I understand because they wanted to make it more sort of a cruiser. But this car has a 5-speed automatic, the ZF 5-speed automatic. Again, same transmission from that car. The term slush box came from this transmission. It is so slippy and I hate it and it sucks, but it does match the character of this car. So like when I'm driving this car, I honestly don't even notice it. But yeah, that's the one change I'm probably not fond of, because this motor with like a 6-speed would still have been better, I think, at cruising than the S62. Something cool on this car, you have the individual sort of plaque. Jet black, which this car is not an individual color, but this is due to obviously like the car having all the special interior and all that stuff, and the Z8 was just such a special car in general. Eagle-eyed viewers may notice the strut bar. That is OEM BMW. That came from them after earlier Z8s had trouble actually with chassis flex. And, you know, this car is all aluminum. And basically, they put that there to keep the chassis rigid. And most Z8s should have them. If it doesn't, that's a problem. Let's look on the interior real quick. Oh, before we do that, the best part of the Alpina. The wheels are so good. And they make the car look so much better. The original car, I want to say, had 18s. And they were just... no other word, they're booty. They were just so not nice. And this definitely makes the car look a lot better. You got this beautiful side grille. That's like directly from the 507. I mean, this is really the modern interpretation of the 507. Looking at the interior, we've got these beautiful metal kick plates that say BMW Alpina Roadster V8, which is their name for this car. In the interior, I've always found it really cool. The Z8 has all painted sort of, you know, trim. So you have it here, you have it on the dash, and it was kind of weird because like on a silver car, it wasn't silver, it was like darker gray, but the black is obviously just painted, you know, exactly what it is. You have leather everywhere. This is black on crema. The interior looked a little different from the normal Z8s. So you have this Alpina bossing on the seat, not sure, the embossing, not sure if that's coming through right there. You have this piping. You have the Alpina steering wheel, which is a little bit different to make way for these little shift buttons that are behind here. Alpina actually still to this day is not doing paddles. They're sticking true to the that button life. Let's just sit in here. You have blue Alpina gauges, which Alpina always does sort of the blue gauges, which I love. It's like this purpley blue. And you have the gear sort of display in front of you, because obviously there's no gear display in the gauge cluster because it was a manual originally. This shows PRND and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you go into manual, obviously you have the automatic transmission, whatever. This blank button, which I can't believe they didn't like do anything with it, but that was the sport button for the original Z8, which obviously had this S62, and the E39 M5 had a sport button. Under here you have your radio, and actually what's funny, there is navigation in there. Not sure that you would ever use it. Looking around the interior, yeah, it's just, I mean, it's a really, really stunning interior. Sort of blends that newer age, but also sort of throwback. Something funny about a Z8, you know, at the time, $130,000 car, now $300,000, $400,000 car. And the top's automatic, but you have to do the sort of end part yourself, where you have to like press this thing and it sort of latches the top. It's power though, but it's funny because it's just like a trunk button from like a, you know, period, you know, 5 series or 3 series, whatever. You can feel it in there. Kind of funny. So in between the seats, you have this cool piece right here that shows the number. So it just would said Z8 on the normal Z8s, but this one says 239 out of 555. Alpina Roadster V8. So yeah, pretty cool. This is one of 555 for the entire world. Something else funny actually as well, as we sort of look at the interior. So a Z8 key looks like a normal BMW key, but you notice it doesn't have somewhere for the key ring. And then on the back, it's actually cool. On the Alpina, it's numbered. So it says 239 out of 555. But the reason it doesn't have anything for a key is you put that key in, things would be dangling. It would be scratching your trim. It'd scratch up the leather. So BMW thought about this. So, like I said, this car's dead, or else I'd start it. Also, this is one of the first cars that I can remember that had a start button. And it's just such a nice action. Let's just get some ASMR here. Look at this. And it's rubberized. I don't know. I'm a freak. I don't know. I love it. All right, looking at the back of the car, before we move on, it's just so stunning. Honestly, that's like a boat tail almost like proportion. You have these neon lights all the way around, which I would show you if the car wasn't dead. You have the Alpina badge, which signifies the Alpina. But yeah, I love these sort of like exhausts that are built into the bumper. Just really an absolutely stunning, stunning vehicle, and one we are very lucky to have in the collection. The next car, my personal E46 M3. So 2 of these cars are really like truly mine, like title to my name, everything. That's this car, and that's the 740. This car I bought right when I moved here from Chicago. I had wanted an E46 M3 for a long time. I have a long relationship with this car because the previous owner, original owner, had it, and he was from here, and he had all the services done, all the modifications done actually at our dealership. I have around $35,000 in ROs from this car. Just everything that was done to it, he did through us. So I always used to see this car back when I was 15, 16 working at the dealership, would drool over it, and now have the opportunity to own it. And it's just really, really a special car to me. But every car person has that moment, you know, when you see a car pull in, or you're going to meet somebody to maybe look at a car, and if you know, you know. I knew with this car right away. I saw it roll in. I was like, well, all right, about to spend a lot of money. So I did. This is a 2003 and a half E46 M3. So it's a facelift. It's got the LED tails, which is nice. To go over the modifications of this car, I can make a separate video if everybody be interested, because there's just so much to go over, but real quick. 4-cylinder CSL carbon front bumper. Alcon big brake kit, front and rear, 6-piston front, 4-piston rear with OEM CSL floating rotors. That's a UUC kit, so all the mounting hardware and everything came from UUC. Turner Motorsport front and rear sway bars, ground control coilovers, iBox springs, ground control camber plates in the front, Dynon Stage 3 tune, AFE cold air intake, Dynon exhaust, which actually something funny, if nobody knows this about Dynon exhaust on E46 M3, you may notice that these 2 tips are clean, these 2 tips are dirty. Well, that's because these 2 tips are fakes. I swear, they're fake. Sound only comes out of that one. So, whatever, don't really know why they did that, but they did. So, the car's sitting right now on the OEM sort of 18s. Oh, also stud conversion, rear subframe reinforced, and then I made some modifications in the interior, which I'll show you in a second. one sort of thing about this car, this is actually originally a SMG car and was converted not by me, but by the previous owner. So if you're looking for an E46 M3, which everybody's seemingly caught on to this, if you're looking for an E46 M3, don't be scared if you find the right car and it's an SMG, because you could always convert it. Either you can convert that SMG car, you know, and just take all the gubbins off and make it, you know, a manual car, or you can put a sort of OEM 6-speed transmission from an E46 M3 into this car, which is what the previous owner did. But like I said, sitting on the 18s right now, I have a set of forge lines that were custom made for this car on 18s on Bridgestone Potenza RE71Rs, cheater tires. So I do a lot of autocross with this. I did a couple track days in Mid-Ohio, a couple track days in Nelson Ledges, and definitely I'm going to do a lot more. But one thing I did over the winter, well, one thing I did over the winter, I did a couple things over the winter. So I wanted to make the interior more focused. I was sliding all over the place. So we have these awesome, awesome seats. I got them from Condor Speed Shop out in California. They're OMP WRCR Art seats. So they have this M-Rain pattern. When I saw them online, I was like, just take my money. So I did these seats with the Sparco seat mounts, which actually were supposed to be OMP, but OMP like wasn't making them, so they sourced these for me. The Bimmer World adapter plates, which were awesome and super easy to use. Lifeline 6-point harnesses, sort of FIA approved 6-point harnesses. The roll bar was already here, and when I got this car, it had the OEM seats in it, but obviously I took those out. I did an M-Rain shift boot and an M-Rain e-brake boot from Condor Speed Shop. I did hard motorsports door pulls because I just think they're cool, even though they cover up my speakers. And I actually have, as well, an OMP Velocita, a steering wheel, and hub adapter that are coming, but literally I ordered in October and still have not come yet. So that's the state of things these days. Obviously, everybody's dealing with it. So yeah, the interior was definitely the biggest change. I also bought a set of OEM CSL or competition package wheels that are going to go on some Sport Cup 2s. So I'm thinking using the RE71Rs for autocross and the Sport Cup 2s for track days, just because the RE71Rs tend to overheat a lot when you use them for a track day. They're a better autocross tire, and I had to get CSLs. The opportunity came up. It was on the BMW CCA forums, and I was like, screw it, because you can't have an E46 M3 and not have CSL wheels. So yeah, this is my baby. I love it. Just love the car. I'm excited to get it back on track this summer, and yeah, that's probably about it. And let's move on to, well, I'll spoil it. Let's move on to another M3. Okay, remember I told you earlier when I was talking about the 3.0 CS that they traded it in on something? Well, this is what they traded it in on. This vehicle was actually not ordered for a customer or anything, which is crazy because M3s and M4s are so hard to come by today. The thought of just seeing one on a showroom floor is crazy. But we ordered this car. It's a final year, so 2013 E92 M3, and the gentleman who saw this on the floor, fell in love with it, and he traded in his 3.0 CS. Story with this car is, I was walking through the service department. I'm a psycho, as I already have mentioned plenty of times, and I immediately came over to this car. I walked over to it, gravitated towards it, obviously, and first thing I did was I went like this. I was like, okay, this thing's really clean. Oh wow, speed cloth, awesome. Check the miles. Oh my God. Now it's got 9,455, but it had like, I think 8,500 when I bought it. So immediately called them. I said, hey, you know, I saw your car in the service department. I'd really be interested in purchasing it if you're interested in maybe parting ways with it. They said, we are. And they were like, you may not know us, but we traded our 3.0 into you. So really cool story. They're awesome, awesome people. And I feel very lucky to have this car. So to go over the spec of this car. So it's really, I think, the pinnacle because it's a last model year competition package car. Love these wheels. They're almost as good as CSLs. But I would not have spec'd a car this way, but I'm happy with it. And let me sort of explain why. So this car is a Melbourne red car. Wouldn't have picked Melbourne red. Never is really one of my favorites, but it's really cool when it hits the sunlight. And this car looks so good in red. I never had really seen one. Well, actually, I'm an idiot because the launch color was Melbourne red. But like, you know, you really don't see that many in Melbourne red. And it's a cool color. Would have done a carbon roof, 100%, but I like a sunroof. The interior. Speed cloth seats, which so cool, but would I ever have spec'd it? No way. So it's really nice. You get this cloth centers. You actually get the merino leather, Novilla leather, I think is what they called it, on the seats. But something weird. BMW, I'm about to hate on you for a second. So you get the cloth on the doors, which is okay. But this right here is not the Novillo leather. This is like cheap, really cheap feeling vinyl, as is this, really cheap feeling vinyl. So I don't know why they did that, but whatever. Obviously, the elephant in the room, DCT. Would I expect an E92 M3 in DCT? No way. Would have gotten a manual. But would I go back? No. I think the S65 with the DCT is such an awesome, awesome pairing, especially with a modification that I made. This car only has one modification. That's it. It doesn't even have painted reflectors yet, which I do painted reflectors on all my cars before they even land, usually, if I order it. Eventuri, full carbon plenum. When I say full carbon, I mean full carbon. So the sound of this car with no, no exhaust, anything, all you get is this induction on downshifts. It like snorts. Can't wait to do a video of it for you guys, but it sounds unreal. But other than that, this car is just so clean. It really is an awesome, awesome example. I had a 6-speed 08 sparkling graphite car before this and ended up selling it, and then this car presented itself to me. I would not do a 6-speed if I had a choice. I think the DCT is better. Only thing on this car that really still bothers me is I do wish it had a carbon roof, but whatever. Competition package, like I said, individual audio, Bluetooth audio so I can listen to my tunes. It's great. Yeah, just walking around. I mean, really just a great example. And I always wanted an E92 in the collection because I just think it's such a cool car, like that high revving V8. And actually, ironically, you have another example of when sort of the German manufacturers, the C63, the RS4, the M3 all had V8s during this time period. It's honestly a really, really cool car. Like I said, haven't made many modifications. Did Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires 10 mil wider in front and rear than stock, just for a little more grip. I think this is a really special car. I love driving it. And, definitely this car, if it fell into some hands, would probably just sit because of the low mileage, but not my hands. I am going to drive this thing. I'm going to use it. And I'm never going to sell it because it's a really, really, really cool car. Moving on to the last car. I actually am going to do just a quick, let's just walk over to it real quick. I'm just going to do a quick bit on it. It's a 2014 Z28. Absolutely unbelievable car. I always thought they were really good value for money. So I bought one. I've had it for around a year. This car is actually sold. Literally just took a deposit on it yesterday. Why am I selling it? I don't know, because I'm an idiot. It's such a cool car. I think these are going to go way up in value. I think they're such good value right now. This car came from Virginia, was actually pleasantly surprised. It has full paint protection film on the whole car. I had it at Mid-Ohio one time. It was incredible. Honestly, I mean, I could talk about this car, but seeing as it's leaving the collection, I don't really want to spend a ton of time on it. And I do have something coming in its place that is also German, but not a BMW. So stay tuned on that. As we sort of look here, I do have a couple other cars over here. This that I referred to, the RS4, this belongs to a friend who's a huge mooch and a freeloader. He knows who he is. And then these two cars over here are one of my dad's friends, and I don't really want to talk about them or show them because they're not my cars, but they are really cool as well. So that sort of, I guess, does it for the whole collection tour, just looking at them all here. Truly, like I said, feel very lucky to be able to come here. And honestly, when I'm having a bad day at work or just bad day in general, I come here, and this is sort of, my happy place. So I guess that's probably going to do it for this video. Please like, please subscribe. A lot more content on the horizon. I hope to do a lot more exciting stuff. I'm going to get out and drive these cars, so let me know which one you want me to drive first. I was thinking about maybe doing a video driving like each generation of M5, showing like if you can really see the lineage. Would love to do something like that. Like I said, I have another car coming. I go to the track often. If you guys want to see track content, would love to talk about that. Really just want to make stuff you guys want to watch. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend with me going over these cars. Please like, please subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers, guys.